It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Indeed it does, and great to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. Our trip around the Northeast continues. Not in our usual Las Vegas studios. On a work trip this week out here in Connecticut. Today we bring you the show from Hartford, Connecticut, where I will be throwing out the first pitch for tonight's Hartford Yard Goats game, the AA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. Looking forward to that. We'll have full video for Monday's show, because tomorrow we won't be here in the typical way that we are. So Monday we will have full highlights of the first pitch of mine for the Hartford Yard Goats. I have promised it will be better than Jordan Love, Stephen A. Smith, and 50 Cent. That's the best I can do, Sam Yarnell. I promise to be better than those three. Will it be a strike?
That's a great place to start.
Will it be a strike? Will it be a bouncer? I don't think I'll bounce it. If anything, I'll overthrow it. But we're not going to bounce it. That's what I can promise people. So we'll have a full video of that. Can't wait to show it to everybody on Monday's show. All right, Sam Yarnell, let's talk about the NBA Finals because, wow, we got a series. And look, it's a game that I have to say, as I was watching this Game 3 play out, all I could think to myself was, if Indiana somehow lost that game, with all that took place during it, and I'll get to that in a second, series was over. When you get 27 off the bench from, Benedict Mathurin, who granted, top 10 draft pick, top 6 draft pick, So obviously somebody saw some talent in this young man. But if they don't win that game last night, when you're getting that sort of Herculean effort from a guy off the bench who's capable, but I don't think anybody would have predicted that sort of output from him offensively, especially against a defensive juggernaut like the Thunder, you have to win that game. You have to find a way somehow to win that game. And to win NBA Finals, to win an NBA title, as an underdog the way the Pacers are, those are the sorts of efforts they're going to need every game. A TJ McConnell coming off the bench playing like a mad dog, chasing a bone. They're going to need that 4 times in 7 games. I still don't know if they get it, but they got it last night, and they have put the Thunder clearly on the ropes here, Sam.
Well, and Tyrese Haliburton was a rebound away from a triple-double. He finally came back, which is what you and I were talking about needed to happen for the Pacers to win this game. Obviously the Pacers become a concern now for the Thunder having a 1-game lead in this series and now having won 1 game at each site, which I think is probably the most impressive out of all of this. Listen, out of this game, I don't think anybody in their right mind would have told you that Benedict Mathurin would have been the Pacers' leading scorer in this game. But that's part of what makes this Pacers team so great and what makes them so effective, especially in the playoffs, is that it's whoever can get it will get it. And they're going to get it when they get it, if that makes sense. I think that we've also criminally been underrating, as much as the Thunder's defense is great, the Pacers' defense is insane. They play really, really good defense. And I mean, shout out to a guy like Miles Turner on a night where he physically cannot shoot the ball. The guy could not put the ball in the hoop at all whatsoever, but it didn't matter because he was making amazing defensive plays left and right. He was huge for that Pacers team down the stretch. Jason, this is a team in the Thunder that a lot of the betting community actually saw this loss coming. This is a Thunder team that is now 0-8 on the road against the spread in these playoffs. This is a team that cannot take their game on the road in the same way they can play it at home. And for the first time, maybe all playoffs, I'm worried about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I think the books are worried right now, because there is a huge liability out there right now for the sports books. And here's the reality, and I'll still say it. This is amazing. And I don't know how you feel about this, but the Thunder right now are minus 230 to win the series. The Pacers are plus 190. You can get the team up 2-1 in the NBA Finals right now at plus 190. Do you do it?
No, I wouldn't take it. It seems like bait, and quite frankly, I think it is. As much as I love what the Pacers are doing. I mean, I just waxed poetic for it for like a minute and a half just about the Pacers. They're playing great basketball.
And now you're going to tell us. And now you're going to tell us. And now you're going to tell us they're still not winning the series.
I don't think they are. The talent discrepancy is just so great. And in both of the games that Oklahoma City has lost, we've seen the Pacers play their absolute best to the max level of basketball. I still don't think we've seen the Thunder play their best basketball yet in this series.
Yeah, I thought game 2 they were pretty good. But, I mean, ultimately, we have not seen that. But look, maybe we don't. And maybe it's just because the Pacers are a lot better than we think they are, and they've been undersold the entire season. I mean, maybe that's part of it as well. But right now you can get the Pacers, as I said, as plus 190 to win this NBA final, despite the fact that they're up 2-1. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still your favorite to be the finals MVP at minus 240, with Tyrese Halliburton at plus 270, Sam. And, talk about a little bit, what the Pacers did in this game, but what the Thunder didn't do in this game, and that was protect the basketball. They had 17 turnovers in this basketball game, which is certainly, and look, as good as Chet Holmgren was in game 2, he went back to, that other Chet Holmgren in game 3, where he was just 6 of 15 shooting. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not as efficient as we're typically used to seeing. And again, credit the Pacers. They were dogged in their effort on defense. They made him work for every shot. And, by the time you got to the end of the game, he looked gassed. He looked winded, hands on hips, hands on knees, tugging at the shorts. He looked exhausted by the end of this game, and that's what it's going to take for the Pacers. And what becomes a must-win now for the Thunder in Game 4, Sam?
Yeah, listen, the turnovers and the Chet inefficiency, those aren't stats regarding how poorly the Thunder played. Those are Pacers defensive stats. We have been, and again, it's like across the NBA media community, we continue to discount the Pacers defense. They are showing you they are one of the best defensive NBA teams in the NBA. They showed you it against the Knicks. They've showed you it so far in this series. The defense that the Pacers play is real, and the Thunder are going to have to do something very interesting to figure it out if we're going to see the same team that scored 149 points in the last round.
I got to tell you something. I don't even know if it's scheme as much as it's just effort. It's just wanting it more. It's it's TJ McConnell, who's undersized. I don't even know if it's something you can teach as much as just watching the effort they put out on defense. Can they do that for 4 times in 7 games? We'll wait and see. David Aardsma talks baseball next. And this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap continues. And if it's a Thursday, that can only mean one thing. Doesn't matter where I am. Doesn't matter where he is. We're still talking baseball with our man, David Aardsma. I said we're like 2 ships passing in the night. We're both usually out in the Southwest. Now we're both in the Northeast. We're just missing each other. I'm in Connecticut. You're in Boston. You're going to Cooperstown. I'm in Hartford. Like we're just missing each other. We're just
going on to first pitch though. That's awesome.
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous because the place will be sold out because the Yard Goats sell out every game. And it's Pride Night, so some of my people will be there, and I'm a little nervous. It could go sideways. Not the ball, but just the entire thing could kind of go sideways. We'll have full video. I'm gonna wear the Meta Ray-Bans so people could actually watch it through my eyes and hear it.
That's kind of cool.
And all of that. Yeah, it's gonna be one of the cooler things I've done with the Meta Ray-Bans, I have to say. Yeah, if I don't get a free pair of Meta Ray-Bans out of this, like a second pair, I'll be very disappointed because this is going to be very cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And you're going to Cooperstown, right?
Going to Cooperstown, big baseball tournament. My younger son, Justin, huge tournament.
Wait a minute. This isn't even like a Hall of Fame trip. This is like a kids playing baseball trip?
Yes, we're going to get to the Hall of Fame, though. And so we're going to check it out as a team. But this is a kids baseball trip.
Oh,
how great is that? How amazing is it as a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Are they playing at the actual field, like the Doubleday Field there?
No, they have two big tournaments
Okay.
there where there's like 50 some teams in both tournaments,
Wow.
or like over 100 teams at one time. They do this 14 weeks out of the year. So it's a
Okay.
ton of teams like this at 12. This is the tournament you go to.
All right, fair enough. I want to talk about a couple big things with you here in this segment, starting with Jackson Jobe. I mean, look, it's another young pitcher going down with a serious elbow injury, and Tommy John surgery is what they're talking about here for Jackson Jobe. This started as a flexor strain. How do we get from there to the point where he has to have Tommy John surgery? Help me understand that.
Well, a lot of times teams will use that flexor strain as the time to put him on the DL and get him checked out, or IL now. It used to be the DL back in my old school days on the IL side. So they give it the flexor strain because that's where the muscles are. You strain those before they have the MRI and before they know more about the UCL, the ulnar collateral ligament. They have to kind of name it as something because you're stressed out in that area. So a lot of times it's the flexor strain, and that's the Band-Aid before they actually get the full view and check it out. Plus sometimes the UCL is strained but not fully torn. And so they're trying to figure out the grades, and then obviously he's going to go see another doctor and go get his second opinion and really kind of judge from there. Like when I had mine wasn't fully strained, so I saw a second doctor. He told me, go for it until it blows out, and then a couple months later blew out. So he found out earlier, and they got that second opinion. Now he's going to go down for TJ. It is tough. It is so bad, especially as the number one pitching prospect in their organization. Huge prospect. And out there, yes, having a little bit of a tough start, but who cares? I mean, they're rolling. That this Detroit team is a great pitching staff. Hopefully they're able to answer it with somebody else in that spot. But at some point with some of these rotations that are not the Dodgers or Yankees or XYZ team, and their budgets aren't unlimited, it's going to be tough for them.
Help me understand, though, because we've talked about this since I started talking to you, about a year ago. We've been having this conversation about these injuries and about pitchers falling to these sorts of injuries. Are we any closer to figuring out a solution, or organizations or the sport as a whole? Are we getting any closer to a solution on how to either avoid this, or is it just simply part of doing business now?
It is a part of doing business. And there are a lot of times I've had private conversations with teams where they talk about this part of development and they're completely okay with it. Understanding that this is business as usual. This is what you do. If you have 10 arms and you can make 10 of them are prospects and 7 of them blow out, they don't care because they got 3. And that's part of their job because it's next man up. Now, you don't want your number one prospect going down. You never want that. You don't want your guy you paid $300 million for, $200 million for, like the Diamondbacks just did, blowing out in their first year of the contract. At the same time, in development, there's part of I don't care as long as we get enough pitchers mentality.
Wow. Where do we go with Aaron Judge at this point? I mean, he had another home run tonight. He's got 25. We were just talking about it on Wednesday's show. The fact that as great as this first half is, by the way, it's not even like in the top 3 or 4 of all-time best first halves that we've ever seen. Like when we started delving into it, we were like, Barry Bonds had an insane one. Ricky Henderson's had one. Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb. Like there's been some amazing first halves that a lot of people may not really remember or know about because we're prisoner to the moment. But I mean, what he's doing within that lineup, too, where he doesn't have a ton of support right now. Goldschmidt's kind of started to slide back down a little bit. I know DJ LeMahieu's hitting the ball better, but that's at the bottom of the lineup. What he's doing right now just continues to amaze, David. This being Aaron Judge, by the way, if I didn't say his name.
Aaron Judge, yes. Cal Raleigh, by the way, 26 home runs. So I don't want to overshadow what he's doing, but he's not hitting 400. But Aaron Judge, too, last year in the month of June, hit 409. And with 11 home runs. So this isn't even unjudge-like. It's just incredible that he's putting it all together. He also hit 260 or something in the month of April. He hit 400 in the month of April. Now he's hitting 444 or something like that in the last 7 games and just destroying baseballs. It's incredible. There were some of those seasons. You mentioned Barry Bonds. And Barry Bonds did have I think in the 04 season, like the best season, his second half was unheard of. Was just like this the whole second half. But it's amazing in this day and age with how we're using pitching and how hitters are not hitting pitching that he is able to do this and seems to be getting better. Why are you pitching to him? Why are we throwing him baseballs anywhere near the plate? 2 home runs 2 nights ago, home run last night, home run tonight, or last night. It just doesn't. It never ends with this guy.
No, it just doesn't make sense. And the Yankees continue to find ways to win games right now, despite the fact that really it's only Judge who's consistently giving them production. It feels like every night he's getting a little help from somebody. And the other reason they're winning is that rotation, which, I mean, look, I don't know if anybody thought that rotation as a whole would be as good as it has. Clark Schmidt was good again on Wednesday night for the Yankees. All right, we're going to come back and do more with our friend David Aardsma, get some thoughts with him on an anonymous survey from The Athletic. I want to know how players feel about these anonymous surveys. We'll talk about that with David and a whole bunch more as we continue on Sports Wrap. This Thursday edition of Sports Wrap continues, and so does the conversation with David Aardsma, former big league reliever, our closer, hangs out with us on the show. We're both on the road. Neither of us are in our normal studios. It's kind of funny. So I want to know what you think and what players think of these anonymous surveys as a whole, because obviously somebody takes part in them. I mean, it's not like The Athletic just makes them up out of thin air. 135 respondents for The Athletic. Which player do you most like to watch play, they asked. And Shohei Ohtani was by far and away the biggest winner with 29 votes for Ohtani, followed by Bobby Witt Jr. at 14, Ronald Acuna Jr. at 10, Elly De La Cruz at 9, Mookie Betts with 7. You got to go all the way down to number 6 to find Aaron Judge, tied with Francisco Lindor at 5. Does that surprise you?
I don't know if it surprises me. It might be a little bit of Yankee bias, a little Yankee. Sometimes
anti-bias, yeah.
You just feel that like we are always talking about Yankees, no matter what you're talking about Yankees. So sometimes there's that it's too much, and so you're just like, I'm over Yankee stuff. It doesn't surprise me at all with Shohei. Why not? But Elly De La Cruz, I imagine, would be second. The top of the list, I can't complain with. Elly De La Cruz should be right there. Bobby Witt's amazing, right? I'm surprised you didn't see Corbin Carroll. Maybe it's a little West Coast Diamondbacks just not getting enough love because he's a lot of fun to watch. But Gunnar Henderson's so much fun. It's a great time in baseball. I'm actually surprised Ronald Acuna Jr. is so high because he's been out of baseball, been hurt. It's not the same guys he was last year or the year before when he was 40-40 or whatever, 40-70. But it's amazing that he's that high. And when Judge is a little lower, that's the only one that surprises me.
Do guys take these polls seriously?
If you're going to answer it, yes. Now, I've had a lot of guys in that locker room I've heard where they just throw it out. Like, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. To me, I kind of like fun with this stuff. Like, I remember the most overrated player when Bryce Harper was number 1 and kind of fired him up and kind of shot across his bow. I think that matured him a little bit. When a lot of players said that because they realize he's actually really good. It's just we can't stand him. And so I took it always serious. I took fun with this stuff because it's like, dude, you're a big leaguer. You're getting asked questions that no one else cares.
I mean, how's Blake Treinen getting 2 votes, David Aardsma?
Who?
Blake Treinen got 2 votes.
As the most exciting?
Yes.
The guy you want to
watch?
The
player I most want to watch play. That's why I'm saying, are these guys really taking this seriously?
Teammates sitting right next to him going, dude, Blake, we got you, dude. We got you. That's exactly what that is.
That's what I can't figure out. I want to get your thoughts on what we're seeing right now with all these prospects getting called up. Jack Caglione getting the call up. We've seen Marcelo Mayer. Now we're seeing Roman Anthony get their opportunities. We saw it last year with the Orioles. Is this going to be the new trend going forward? The teams they're just not waiting anymore. And maybe some might wait a little while longer to get that extra year of service time. There's all these different rules and all these different things that teams are trying to do in terms of still manipulating that situation, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But is it a sign of panic that the Red Sox are doing this? Is it a sign of panic or a sign of opportunity that the Royals are saying, hey, we still got a shot to be a playoff team. Let's get this guy up here and find out what he could do. What prism do you view it through?
I'm usually always an optimist. So the way I look at it is I love that the Royals did it as a fan, as a baseball player, as like pure baseball purist. I love it. As a front office executive, it makes zero sense.
Yeah.
None. You're losing out on probably $10 million. It makes no dollars and cents, especially for a small organization that should be penny pinching. Makes no sense. But I love it as a baseball fan, so we can't argue it. And to me, where the Royals are, they have to win baseball games. Bring that boy up who's just crushing baseballs and see if he makes an impact. And he already is. And then with the Red Sox, you know what? It's Craig Breslow realizing where this team is, and it needs life. It needs energy. And if you got these players, bring them up. It is the anti-Baltimore Orioles. Bring them up while they're going down there. They're just wasting time in the minor leagues. Let them play baseball. Let them get in this roster and start to see what we have here. Roman Anthony saw him on Monday on his debut. Should have had 2 hits. He sent balls right up the middle. I think 111 miles per hour off of the starter's leg. Should have been a base hit. Another one later in the game up the middle. Obviously had a huge error that led to, I think, the actual loss. The Red Sox had to come back, and it wasn't the losing runs, but it actually lost them the ball game. But again, these guys are energy. It's excitement in the clubhouse. You have to love it as a veteran when you see these kids walk in the door, because it's like, dude, now is when we win baseball games, and we have to do it with these players. I think it's Breslow realizing he's not going to get many more shots either.
Is Core at risk here? We've talked about it on the show. I don't know if I talked about it with you per se. We might have talked about it last Thursday, but the Yankees threw him a lifeline when they beat the Yankees 2 out of 3 in New York. They'll give him the whole season, right?
I don't know.
Really?
To me, there's no point to give him the whole season.
But in season firings in baseball, I mean, what do you really get out of it?
If you have somebody that you have in the minor leagues that you want to be your future manager, somebody you love, or somebody where all of these prospects played with. We saw this with the Blue Jays with Schneider back in the day when Guerrero and Bichette and all Biggio and all these guys in the minor leagues coming through. Then all of a sudden you bring their manager up with them. And this, to me, if Alex Cora doesn't get into July with at least being close to second place, close to a wild card spot, there's no reason to keep him around. Why am I going to let my players, my young players, get used to him if I'm just going to switch it? Switch it now, but it has to be to the manager you want to move forward with. It can't be to just some interim somebody taking a place. It's got to be the dude. It's got to be the guy.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where they are when we get to the All-Star break. Hey, real quick before I let you go, Rangers signing Craig Kimbrell to a minor league deal. I have to be honest, I was never a Kimbrell guy. I watched way too many instances where I felt like he didn't have as good of the put-away pitch in big spots. What do you make of Kimbrell at this point? Is there any salvaging him? Is there anything left there to salvage?
You're just trying to hit cold. You're trying to see what it is. You're not really losing anything. Signing them to a minor league contract, I do love it. I love when you're taking chances on this. But when the Braves have him for a day and he's jumped around so much, now it's probably done. But he still has a velo. He still has some fastball. But even the Dodgers said it. He's losing command, and when it mattered most, when the lights are the brightest, he's not getting the job done.
That's David Aardsma, former big league reliever, closer. Our closer. Enjoy the rest of the trip. Enjoy Cooperstown, my friend. I will talk to you next week.
Thank you. Throw a strike.
Oh, I will. We'll see you later. And this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap continues. Talked some NBA at the start of the show, obviously, with Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We've talked about Aaron Rodgers joining the Steelers this week. Now we're going to fuse the two together. How, you may wonder? Sam Yarnell. There's talk of Kevin Durant moving in this offseason. It seems like a foregone conclusion he will not be playing for the Phoenix Suns next season. The question is, where does he play, and what does he have left to offer at this stage of his career? Where else could he potentially, bring a title? And there is, Kevin Durant, his agent, Suns, looking at these trade options. And as I was thinking about it, I was kind of pondering this when I was, looking at Aaron Rodgers' decision to go and play for the Steelers. And he said that was the only place he was going to play. It was that or retirement. I wonder if Kevin Durant has the same sort of thing in mind as he and his boardroom CEO, Rich Kleiman, have met over the last week and are looking at possible trade options here, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. And what this next and potentially final chapter of Kevin Durant's career looks like. Is it similar to Aaron Rodgers at this point? Which one, has a better chance to actually do something in that next chapter? You would think it's Durant because the options are probably greater when you talk about, the teams that are going to be available to him, the maneuverability, the way NBA athletes, the way NBA players can move themselves from team to team in this league, Sam Yarnell, versus the difficulty in doing that and manipulating the system in the NFL. It's a little more difficult for players in the NFL to do. But I'm curious what this next chapter looks like for Kevin Durant moving away from Phoenix to another team where he tries to chase another title somewhere.
Yeah, so it is a foregone conclusion. He is not going to play for the Phoenix Suns again, and he is obviously going to be more impactful than Aaron freaking Rodgers. Oh my gosh, 2 days in a row in the middle of June that I have to mention Aaron freaking Rodgers on this show, so I'm going to try to make this as much about Kevin Durant as possible. Listen, here's why Kevin Durant isn't Aaron Rodgers and what he's done so much better. Kevin Durant, when he doesn't want to be in the spotlight, is actually really good at not being in the spotlight. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, Kevin Durant also understands what it means to be a winner, right? Kevin Durant has been around dynastic teams before rather than just get beaten by them in the NFC Championship game every year. Oh, I'm sorry, Packers fans. I'm sorry. I know the wound might still be a little too fresh. Kevin Durant is going to go somewhere, and I'll get to where he's going to go in just a second, but he's going to go somewhere where he's not going to be the number one guy, almost decisively, right? He is going to be the number 3 or the number 4 or even the number 2 might be too much of a stretch for Kevin Durant at this point in his career. And I think he understands that, which is so important as an athlete. He understands where he is and what he can offer to a team to bring them a championship. I also think it's a different conversation because Kevin Durant is in the conversation to be a top 10 basketball player of all time. Aaron Rodgers couldn't even grace that conversation, like if he tried. So they're just in different stratospheres with relation to how good the athlete is to their sport. Now, it's a foregone conclusion to an extent that Kevin Durant is going to be a New York Knick, which I think is very interesting considering Jason Page, the Knicks are in the freest of free falls right now and don't even know what they don't even know who's going to coach Kevin Durant, let alone whether or not he's going to play, because they fired their best coach in 30 years, and now they're just asking everyone if they can interview their head coach, but they keep getting denied by everybody. So everything's a whole mess in New York once again.
I don't want to see.
And it's cruxed on Aaron Rodgers and Kevin Durant. What do you know?
I don't want to see Kevin Durant in a Knicks uniform. Let me also say this.
Get ready.
I will tell you why I think Aaron Rodgers has the potential to actually have a greater impact and be more valuable. He plays the most important position in all of sports.
Yes.
Plain and simple. And you just and you argued almost against yourself in that you said at this stage of his career, Durant's probably the second, third, or fourth option, depending on which team in which city he lands. Whereas Aaron Rodgers is the option. He's the guy that the Steelers put all their eggs into the basket on and said, we're going to sit around and wait. We're going to wait for you to get married. We're going to wait for you to deal with whatever personal crisis is going on in your private life. We're going to sit around here and wait. It's all you, Aaron. Mike Tomlin be damned. Those Super Bowl rings, it's okay. We're taking a shot. We're taking a flyer. We're throwing the Hail Mary, pun intended, on Aaron Rodgers to try and see if we can, scrap out one more title or one more winning season under Mike Tomlin before we finally decide that it's time for this organization to turn the page and begin to move in a different direction, which will inevitably happen because there's a book out there, political book, Everything Trump Touches Dies. At this point in his career, everything Aaron Rodgers touches dies. Go ask the New York Jets about it, because that's a similar situation that I think the Steelers will find themselves in by the time everything's all done with Aaron Rodgers. I still think Durant's got plenty of good basketball left in him, though.
Yes,
I do think he still has plenty of good basketball left in him. I'd like to see him in Houston. I think the Rockets are a great spot for him. I think San Antonio is a spot that potentially makes some sense as well. I mean, look, in Minnesota, mentoring an Anthony Edwards could be a good spot as well. I'll throw that one in there too. I even did you a favor, Sam, because I know you're so anti-Aaron Rodgers. I didn't show a single Aaron Rodgers highlight in the segment.
Thank goodness.
We didn't show a single one.
It's June 12th.
I didn't show a single one.
You are exactly right, Jason. Aaron Rodgers plays the most valuable inherently position in sports, singularly, right? So, yes, maybe my question was, I was jumping the gun a little bit to say that the Steelers are going to be horrible again this year.
We're coming back. Some WNBA notes. Paige Beckett's buckets. We'll get to it next. We take it to segment 5 on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. Again, programming note, we're here tomorrow, but we're not here. Special programming tomorrow as I'll be traveling to New York City. Final leg of this 10-day road trip on the East Coast for the show. Back in our Las Vegas studios on Monday. Full recap of the U.S. Open, which is in progress as we speak. Well, maybe not as we speak, but on this day, it is going on. Sam Yarnell, let's talk some WNBA. Look, Diana Taurasi said that she thought Paige Beckers would eventually be the best player in the WNBA. And I'm not going to sit here saying she should take some victory lap just yet. But on a team where she is basically the offensive option, and she is going to be the focus of teams' attention just about every night. She went off for 35 last night on the road in Phoenix, albeit in a loss. I know you'd rather be winning the game. And the Wings are terrible. They're 1-10 as they try to get this new arena built in downtown Dallas. But she goes 13 of 19. She's 5 of 7 from 3, coming back off the concussion that she had to miss, I think, 4 games for. She goes for 35, 6, and 4. Just 2 turnovers in the loss. But, man, Paige Beckers is going to be fun to watch for a long time, Sam.
Yeah, the WNBA, again, and you and I talked about this when they drafted Caitlin, right? The WNBA is in great hands for years to come between Caitlin, Paige. We've still got Juju Watkins in college, obviously suffered that horrible, I think it was an ACL tear, maybe an ACL and MCL tear at the end of last season. WNBA is in great hands talent-wise. I will say we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with the whole Paige Beckers is one of the best players or the best player in the WNBA conversation. It seems like this morning there's a large contingent of WNBA fans or WNBA bettors, it may be better specifically, that are running to bet Paige Beckers to win the MVP. Listen, here's the thing, folks, and I feel like this is a conversation we're going to have to revisit now because of something we're going to talk about later in the segment. A'ja Wilson is still the best player in the WNBA, and it's not particularly close. She's top 3 in the league in points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game, and steals per game. You talk about the best all-around player in the WNBA. It has been, it is, and it will be A'ja Wilson in perpetuity until further notice.
She's 30-1 right now is A'ja Wilson to win the MVP, Sam. I mean, that's a huge number being hung on her right now. Nafisha Collier is minus 330, the hands-down favorite to win the MVP. And then Caitlin Clark at plus 370, followed by Breanna Stewart at 21. You got to go scan down to number 4 if you're talking about A'ja Wilson. As it relates to Rookie of the Year, though, Paige Beckers right now the overwhelming favorite, minus 850 right now for Paige Beckers to win Rookie of the Year, and that feels like a foregone conclusion unless there is some sort of injury that knocks her out for an extended period of time.
100%, Jason, and even if so, I mean, that's the kind of conversation we have to have. It's similar to one that I've had actually with people around the betting community about Aaron Judge this year. It's like it's not a matter of whether they get injured, it's just how much time they would miss with injury and what is the limit on that for them to still, with the performance they put up, still win the award. I think for Paige Beckers in what's their 65 game season, I want to say.
I don't even think it's that many. I think it's only like 40 something games.
If she misses 7 games, 8 games, I think she could still probably win the Rookie of the Year, which is just incredible and doesn't speak to this rookie class as much as it speaks to the dominance of Paige Beckers. She has been so fun to watch in a rookie campaign. And I would say it's Caitlin Clark-esque, Jason, but it's not, because it's almost the opposite in that the spotlight was always on Caitlin Clark, and yeah, she'd live up to it. She performed out of her mind, from the beginning to the end of the season, all the way through. The Paige Beckers thing, at least nationally and in terms of other people looking in on the WNBA, is not as much in the spotlight, and it seems like her performances have been more influential to this Dallas team than Caitlin's were last year to that Indiana team.
Nafisha Collier, as I said, right now your favorite to win the rookie, or rather, I should say the MVP. The New York Liberty are your favorite to win it all right now at plus 100. The Lynx at plus 320. The Fever at plus 600. You could still get the Aces at plus 700, even though they're just 4-4 in the early going. And Becky Hammon is searching for answers right now for this team that just looks like it's stuck in mud. You score 89 points in a WNBA game, you should win, was essentially what Hammond said after their loss last night to an LA Sparks team that, despite having Kelsey Plum, is not that good right now at 4-7 on the year. Asia Wilson suffered, they think she may have suffered a concussion in this game.
Right.
She had a bloody nose. She took a shot to the head. They cannot afford to lose her for any sort of significant period of time, Sam.
Yeah, this is a similar thing, I feel like, to what we saw last year with the Aces, where they just kind of middled despite having this incredible talent in Asia Wilson. And now, obviously, if she's going to miss any sort of time, that does become a huge question mark for the Las Vegas team. I think the standings right now, right? Like, this is not a Las Vegas Aces tweet. This is a New York Liberty tweet, because we can't get out of this segment without mentioning how amazing they have been this season. And Stewie and Ionescu are the best tandem in the W, Jason. Yep. Fun to watch basketball in New York.
They are undefeated, and there is actually a bet on FanDuel for them to go undefeated for the whole season. And here's what's shocking. It's not as big a number as you would think. It's only plus 11,000. I would think it'd be like plus 25,000. They're gonna go 40-0? That's madness. It's madness, I tell you. We're coming back. Odds and Ends is next. Just about time to say goodbye on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. But before we do, some reminders. First of all, if you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, anywhere you get a podcast. You can watch this, or I should say listen to this show, commercial-free, Monday through Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe today and never miss a minute of all the fun and frivolity that is Sports Wrap. Also, Sports Wrap with Jason Page, our YouTube channel. If you have not checked it out yet, please do so. It is available on all places on YouTube. Go and subscribe now. Sports Wrap Shorts are there as well, with instant reaction to top breaking news whenever you need it. SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Go and subscribe. Again, the show available there, commercial-free, Monday through Friday as well. Again, tomorrow, a programming note. We will not be here in our usual form. We will have a show on, but I will be traveling to New York City during the time that we normally put the show together. We will be back on Monday with regular programming, full reaction to the U.S. Open at that time. Look forward to that. Then on tomorrow's show, my conversation with Kavitha Davidson, talking to her about a number of important issues around the sports world, trans athletes in sports, both in high school and college, and the way that issue is being handled, and the hot potato that it has become, the political cudgel that it has become in so many circles. We will talk about that, the cultural war over that. We will talk about also the House settlement and how it's going to affect college athletics, athletes being paid, all of that with our friend Kavitha Davidson tomorrow on the show. All right, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell, the continued... Well, look, I mean, athletes are going to take away more jobs from sportscasters every day because every single athlete, and every time we turn around, there is an athlete or a former athlete that is putting out a podcast, and there's just only so much bandwidth to go around. The latest is Serena and Venus Williams, who are coming out with a podcast, and Serena tweeted about it earlier today, Sam Yarnell. I think you'll get some interesting stuff because Serena and Venus have never been shy. They've had a willingness to be outspoken on a number of different issues. I think a Serena-Venus podcast could be interesting. I just hope it's more interesting than their matches against each other were, because those weren't very interesting.
Yes, definitely. Right. So in a space that, you know, as you alluded to, Jason, is becoming more oversaturated by the day, I actually don't think that the tennis media space is saturated enough.
Agreed.
And I think this is going to do like huge numbers for tennis in media. You know, you see this with podcasts as they come up relating to certain sports, and that sport's following popularity or go kind of hand in hand with the expansion of that podcast. And these kinds of things tend to be on a different level of popularity when you're talking about involving former athletes. I mean, also, there are countless examples to go around. Look at Baseball is Dead with Dallas Braden, a perfect game thrower, right? Look at Spittin' Chicklets with Ryan Whitney and Paul Bissonnette, who's on the TNT broadcast for NHL games. When you see these athletes get into the media space that isn't very saturated at the time of that athlete's arrival in the media space, it does tend to do well for that sport. So I'm excited for tennis because of this.
Exclusively on X, Serena tweeting out today, the world's not ready for the real conversations Venus Williams and I are going to pull out on our podcast. Don't be scared. This isn't just tennis. It's our unfiltered truth. Hashtag sister talk. There you go. Good luck to the both of them on that. Sam Yarnell, odds and ends. I talked about it earlier in the show. I want to get your opinion because we heard what Major League Baseball players think about who's the player they get most excited to watch. And by far and away, it is Shohei Ohtani who took the honors in this anonymous survey that 135 players responded to. Ohtani with 29 votes, Bobby Witt Jr. 14, Ronald Acuna Jr. 10, Ellie De La Cruz 9, Mookie Betts 7. You have to go all the way down to find Aaron Judge and Francisco Lindor, who got 5 votes. There's that anti-Yankee bias jumping in. Sam Yarnell, who are you most excited to watch on a day-in, day-out basis in Major League Baseball?
Obviously, it's Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, the ball,
watch
the
him
ball
what,
DH?
To the nth watch him.
Degree.
What? It's excited to watch the guy DH. I don't understand this. Aaron Judge is literally, it is get your popcorn, sit down and watch every time he comes up, and he plays the field and actually makes plays in the field. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wouldn't
actually
pay.
makes plays in the field as a stretch. He does, in fact, stand in right field, but the analytics would tell you he does not make plays in the outfield. Listen, I think the Shohei thing goes to the point that, like, we're 3 weeks away from him pitching in a Dodgers uniform again. This is a guy who's coming second in a Cy Young race, right? This is a guy who, you know, we've seen him do everything on a baseball field. And yeah, I mean, as you go down the list, I think the answers are actually very interesting. Bobby Witt Jr. is obviously one incredible hitter. I don't think anyone would discount him of that. I think the reason, though, that he's so high on this list is because he is maybe the best defensive shortstop in the game. I think that's why Francisco Lindor is just as high as Aaron Judge, because that kind of stuff is exciting for people who truly love baseball, like those of us who spent as long as these guys have playing it. I mean, you watch baseball for that long, defense becomes really exciting.
Well, we got to go. Thanks to David Aardsma. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. Baseball's on the come. The ratings are up. Everybody will tell you. We'll see you back here for a Friday Sports Wrap next Monday as well. Bye-bye.